I am a consumer. You are a consumer. We all are consumers. We need products. Our consumer brain decides which products to buy. Price, quality, convenience are important. And with most of our purchases, we buy brands. Brands are firmly settled into our brains with positive vibes. They help us to reach our goals. But still, sometimes I feel bad about my consuming behavior. I like the smell, I like the color, or I like the price, or I like the brand itself. But I know my purchase has an impact on our planet. And I care about our planet and the people working on it. And then one day, I met Carmine. Carmine operates a small rubber farm in Indonesia. His rubber is used to make the things that we enjoy each day. Like the tires on your car or your bike. The boots that protect you from the rain. But Carmine barely earns enough to survive. He dreams of sending his children to school. But that costs money he doesn't have. So Carmine faces a dilemma. He can earn more money. He can, for example, cut the trees. And with this profit, he can send his children to school. But this might affect the local water stream and kill birds. So, what would you do? The need to feed your children wins. And that's understandable. But the planet loses. You know, here in the Netherlands, it's easy to think that Carmine's problem is just a problem far away. Something that only happens in developing countries. Let me introduce you to a farmer closer to home. This is Eugène. Eugène is a farmer in the Netherlands. He produces corn, potatoes, onions, things that we enjoy each day. Eugène also needs to feed his family. Market prices force Eugène to produce as much as possible. And because of this, field birds are barely seen on the farmlands in the Netherlands anymore. Carmine's and Eugène's dilemma is a global phenomenon in our world today. Can't we solve this? This was my quest. And then one morning, I woke up with such an obvious question, and I realized I never truly researched what the answer was. And the question was, what do we pay our farmers? As in, you, me, we buy products. How much of the price that we pay ends up with the farmer who takes care of our natural environment? What do we pay the stewards of our earth? Because market prices change day by day and there is waste in the supply chain. It is impossible to exactly determine how much this is. But we can make an estimate. I brought 3 products. Can you guess how much of these prices ends up with the farmer? Bolognese chips, 1.70 in store. The farmer, I hear 20 cents, €1. It's 9 cents. Pair of jeans, €70. Too high. It is a staggering 48 cents. Mix for pancakes, 1.50. Yeah, you're now trying to get everything down, eh? It's 4 cents. With the Haas University of Applied Sciences, we researched about 100 products, all with the same conclusion. The amount the farmer gets is, well just let's say it's small. Let me show you. This is the price you and me pay for our products, the total price. And this is then how it's divided in the supply chain. The small piece there, which is like behind the TEDx logo, that's the share of the farmer. And although every supply chain is different, this share is always small. A second thing supply chains do have in common is the last block, which is the tax we normally pay on our products. And then there is this big block. And now it gets interesting. This big block is the last step in the supply chain with a direct relation to the origin of the product. It's a group we have a word for. Brands. The brand is the power player in the supply chain. We recognize brands from the age of 2. Brands are hammered into our brains with positive vibes, often earning a big chunk of supply chain money, while constantly striving to do things better, faster, cheaper. And that's good. It challenges us to be efficient. I like it. But this does not work with farming. Here's the major paradox. The farmer must fulfill a crucial role in taking care of our planet. To be able to make the right decisions, this requires money. But in the current system, the farmer is only a pawn with no other power than to accept market price. Our current economic system puts a fundamentally unsustainable pressure on the stewards of our earth. When knowing this, isn't there then anything we can do? Let's think a bit crazy. What would happen to the prices that we pay when we would double the prices to farmers? Let's see. 170 will become 179. 70 euros will become 70.48. And you might guess the 150 will become 154. Well, you might think now, good story, great on paper. But this does not work in real life. It's impossible to double the prices to farmers. So, I started. Here it is. A rubber exercise band. On the market now for 5 years. Identical to competitors, but with one main difference. Carmine is paid double. And this cost me, the brand, 3 cents. 3 cents, and I'm changing the planet and the life of Carmine and his family. Because I made this small adjustment to the economics of the supply chain. Carmine now runs a more profitable business. He builds rubber forests, not monoculture plantations, and restores previously degraded lands. Birds can return. The supply chain is still driven by price and volume, which is essential for commercial practices. But Carmine's dilemma is resolved. He feeds his family and he fulfills his role as steward of our planet. And Eugène and the field birds? Eugène started from a monoculture approach and is trying to change. And together with some big brands in the Netherlands, they're trying to change into a more diverse way of farming, with a focus on soil, climate, and biodiversity, which looks like this. You, me, we, consumers. When we buy a product, it is much too difficult to include all things related to sustainability into our purchase decision. Our consumer brain simply isn't capable of including things like soil quality or biodiversity impact into our purchase decision. Let's embrace this. But brands, we love brands. Brands have the time and the energy to decide on what is sustainable farming. And they can handle a price difference. Brands are in the position to make this change. And I assumed it would be much too expensive, even for brands, to make this change. But the opposite is true. Money is not the obstacle. For just a few cents, brands can save our planet. And birds might return everywhere. Thank you.